Hey, what's up everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is Empire Season 5, Episode 1, and the name of this episode is Steal from the Thief. I'm so glad that Empire's back, and this first episode was pretty decent because we're starting to see that 6 months post, somebody died and they're in the coffin. The question is, who was in that coffin? And from the beginning, I was thinking it could have been either Hakeem or Tiana, but we come to find out that it's not. So let me begin. So that's pretty much where the episode began, where Lucius is in front of the coffin, and he pretty much is very emotional. So it's obviously somebody that he's close to. And of course, when the episode opens, we're all wondering what happened to Hakeem, because the last time we saw him and Blake and Tiana were in this pretty much this shoot off with Blake's father. We actually see what actually happened. Hakeem does get shot, but Blake is shot in the leg, but he's able to get the gun away from his father and he kills his dad. But due to the shooting, Hakeem lost one of his lungs, so he's pretty much not to his full capacity, and definitely he's struggling. And we definitely see throughout the episode that he's really starting to fall apart, because here it is, he's not breathing properly, he's not taking his physical therapy seriously, and he's, just mad. And Tiana suggests, oh yes, so it's 2 years later, so Bella is now, I think, like 2 or 3 years old, and both Tiana and Hakeem had a little boy. So Tiana suggests that they perform, at this awards event, because, he needs to stay out there, but Hakeem is not back to his full health. So she suggests that you can just do you just have a backing track played, and you can just, lip sync. I mean, all the greats do it. Like if they have some performances where they're not at their full potential, they usually have a backing track to help them out. But let's just say during that performance, Hakeem started coughing, the back track was still playing, everybody in the audience is reacting, and everybody's like, oh my god, he's got a backing track playing. And Blake had to come in and save the performance, and that did not sit well with Hakeem. So Hakeem, throughout this episode, is just on some mad shit. We see later on, he even approaches Jamal with his new boyfriend, Kai, and he literally holds a gun up at Kai, and of course, that definitely bothered Kai, because Kai's a reporter, and he's been reporting in the Middle East, so that definitely set a trigger off of him. So we see that definitely, I'm going to keep my eye on Kai, but we see that Hakeem is just, he's on his wit's end. He almost gets into it with Tiana, because Tiana's mad that he's been drunk and he hasn't been home, and he's just been wilding out. But it's cool to see how grown Bella has become. And like, she just came in, oh, what's going on, Daddy? He's like, oh no, me and Titi just having a fight. So, we see that, Hakeem is he still loves his children, and he's still a good dad, but his ego was bruised, and we'll see throughout the season how he's gonna bounce back, if he does. We also see that Lucius and Cookie are kind of going through it after Eddie took over Empire. They owe $50,000, to get the air condition fixed, so they're literally in a sweat box in the house, and that they were struggling because Juanita came up in there dressed in her regular clothes. Now, we know every time we see Juanita got that maid uniform on with the apron and everything. Oh, she came in as like, now I've been waiting for weeks for y'all to pay me. And she just wearing her regular clothes. I was cracking up. I was like, man, they really have hit rock bottom. And it shows you right there that even when you rich, you can still be struggling at times. So that was kind of an eye-opener, that there's a lot of rich people who probably go through the same situation. where because they don't have that income coming in, they can't fully maintain this lavish lifestyle that they've created. So here it is, they're pretty much, trying to figure out a way to get Empire back. So we see that Cookie links up with Andre. Now Andre is in prison, and he got 2 years for reckless endangerment for him drugging Anika, and we saw how that happened in the end of season 4, where she fell to her death and bled the fuck out. So we see that Andre, because of Thurston, he got like only 2 years in prison. But pretty much Cookie connects with Andre to see, like, he knows that Steve, who actually worked with Eddie on his Posse scheme or whatever, well, pretty much on this Posse scheme that got Eddie ripped off, he was one of his financial managers. So pretty much we see that Andre, plays chess with the guy and starts to really make some serious moves. And he's like, I know about your involvement with Eddie and that whole Ponzi scheme and everything, so I know you behind it. So thing is, what do you got on Eddie? And at first he wasn't going to try to give up the information, but Andre threatened him in his own way, like, well, either you give me what I want and I have your back, or I can have you send up to Club Fed and you'll be no use to me or anybody else. And pretty much kinged his ass, pretty much checkmate on that ass. So I was like, damn. So then we also get a glimpse of how Empire is doing since Cookie and Lucius are no longer at the company. We see that that Becky is pretty much A&R, and she's well respected, by Eddie and also Giselle. They was up there kikiing with each other and all that, and I'm like, damn, Becky stayed. So it's like, here it is, Empire is thriving, but now Lucius and Cookie are outside of the company. And it just goes to show you how publicly traded companies work, that because of the board of directors, you can be literally thrown out of your own company. And that's exactly what happened with Lucius and Cookie, with Eddie Barker's takeover. And then we get a glimpse of Giselle's ass. Giselle in her damn office getting bent over, by this intern that's working with her. And she pretty much is just very, very nonchalant about it. She's like, look, Eddie probably got him some little secretaries that he's screwing, but I'm staying ahead of the game. And, we see that she actually remarried Eddie. So now they're back to being a partnership. But here it is, she's like, shoot, I'm the one running everything. Eddie too busy off doing other shit. But she said that, but trust me, it's gonna be my time and I'm gonna do what I gotta do. So we already see that Giselle is already cooking some shit. And then we also notice that Cookie, after visiting Andre, she goes into the parking lot and she hears this girl singing in her car, and she can rap. So Cookie is definitely, because definitely that's Cookie's gift. She has a great ear for music, and when she hears great shit, she jumps on it. So I thought that was cool. Then we actually have the big award event, the MVP Movie Awards, kind of like their version of the VMAs. And Cookie and Lucius are up for a nomination along with Eddie. So Eddie and Giselle know that Lucius and Cookie are gonna be there, and they hired all these bodyguards. And you see on the red carpet, Eddie Barker is scared like shit of Lucius, and it's so funny. And we see that while they're on the red carpet, they were standing next to each other, and all of a sudden the guards all was like ready to guard them, and then like Lucius like, man, look at them all scared, and then Cookie's like, yeah, punk ass bitch. I was like, I was rolling. This shit was so funny. But So then we see that Giselle and Cookie definitely, when they see each other, they definitely throwing shade at each other. Giselle said that that you can't return that if their armpit stains on the dress, and then said, where'd you find that at an H&M? And then Cookie starts talking about Giselle's like that botched face job of yours. It's so bad that you waste your money on such a botched face job and shit. So I thought that was cute. I also mentioned that Tiana does perform along with Hakeem, and Hakeem was on the backing track, and through the performance he couldn't keep up and he started coughing up blood, and Blake had to come in and save the performance, and you knew that definitely pissed Hakeem off. So we see at the award ceremony, when it came down time for the nominations, they had to change seats, and Cookie was sitting, and pretty much Eddie was seated right by Lucius and Cookie, and he was trying to get out of it so much, but they was like, look, you all are nominated together, and we want all the nominees to be together, for the cameras. So they sit there with Eddie's ass. Damn Cookie threw a damn glass of wine on Giselle and fucked up her dress. And they sit down there with Eddie, and Eddie think his ass was gonna get up and was like, I ain't got time for this shit. And they both was like, sit your ass down. I was like, oh shit. So they start talking to him, and they let them know that they know that he's been skimming off the books of Empire, and he's been putting his money in the shell company accounts in Panama. So they let his ass know that when we win that award, if we get on stage tonight, you are going to step down from Empire, and you're gonna pretty much sign everything back to us, or you go to jail. So they got Eddie's ass. So we see that later on, after the awards, Eddie's in his office shredding all of this stuff because shit can definitely come. He definitely knows that motherfuckers are coming back to get that ass, and plus he knows that damn Lucius and Cookie done found out his secret. So he pretty much Giselle comes in, and he pretty much tells Giselle, like, look, we lost, it's not gonna work out, we lost. And Giselle was like, I didn't lose anything, you lost. And she's like, I'm not going back to what it was before, so you need to fix this shit. And he's like, ain't shit to fix, we lost, they got everything on me, I gotta step away. And she was like, and then like, of course Giselle is mad as hell, because she's like, oh damn, here it is again, we're back at square one because of you and your bullshit. And we see that Eddie goes in to try to kiss Giselle and tries to get close to her. Giselle gets real physically aggressive and pushes Eddie to the point where he falls and hits his head on the edge of a table and starts to bleed. Now the thing is, Eddie could have been saved, but Giselle was like, I'm not saving your ass this time. So she let that motherfucker bleed out, and she left him for dead. And then we see that after the funeral service and shit, Giselle is such a heartless bitch that after she talks to I think his name is Kenny Patel, who is the guy that he was the guy that Eddie had worked with to take Empire from the Lions. He's letting her know that now that Eddie has passed, we want you to fill the role as CEO. And he gets out the car. She tells the driver to pull. Can he pull over? Do you know that this rotten bitch took Eddie's ashes and threw them in the sewer? I was like, that bitch is heartless as hell. So we already see that Giselle is gonna become like the new Anika, where she's gonna be coming for the Lions, and she wants power, and she wants her own prestige, and she will stop at nothing to get it. And she's heartless as fuck, so anybody is exposable, as far as she's concerned. But yeah, that shit was crazy. I was like, damn, you threw him in the sewer along with Stephen King's It. And I'm like, that is crazy. Oh yeah, and shout out to my family, Lynette and Stanley from Random TV Reviews, because they had made the joke that they had made the joke that that dang, she done threw him in the sewer along with the Ninja Turtles. I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, but shout out to my fam. But yes, that shit was crazy. So of course, now that Eddie has died, that means their plan backfired because Eddie needed to be alive in order for them to take back Empire. But now that hasn't happened. Lucius is pissed. He's breaking glasses. He's flipping the fuck out. Him and Cookie get into this argument going back and forth because he's saying that you should have never gave up Empire. You know, because we know the reason, the way he got Empire was that he had the scarf from the night that Lucius had killed Shine, and he used that scarf to take Empire from them, and Cookie played their hand. And she pretty much says, I let him have the damn company because Empire is more than a company. The Empire is the Lions. But they pretty much even though, you know, the Lions aren't in Empire anymore as far as the company side, the company's doing pretty well. You know, they definitely are, you know, making great numbers. So pretty much, you know, Lucius and Cookie go back and forth, you know, throwing jabs. And he was like, you gave my company away and all this shit. And she's like, what about my blood, sweat, and tears that I put into this shit? And he was like, what the fuck you mean? 17 years, you weren't even around. I was doing all this shit. You know, I made it to what it was. When you came back in, Empire was already successful. Yeah, successful due to her sacrifice. So, of course, they start going back and forth and throwing jabs. And he was like, so where were you then? And she was like, well, where were you when you was you know, all in the days trying to see your colors? I was like, Cookie, you went there. And he's like, oh, you gonna throw that? She's like, yes, I did. Oh yeah, blah 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 blah. And they just going tit for tat. And then Jamal shows up. We find out that Jamal's been living in London, you know, for the past 2 years. He's got a new boyfriend named Kai, and he's starting up his own label in London. And we actually meet Kai, and Kai already is kind of sensing, okay, this family's a little crazy, so let me get on my phone and make a call so I can get the hell out of this situation. But they sit down, they talk to Jamal and everything, and, you know, they talk about them losing Empire and all that. And that damn Jamal was like, well, thank you, Jesus, thank Allah, thank Buddha, thank every spiritual domination there is. And they's like, how can you say that shit? And he was like, look, Empire destroyed us. Empire destroyed our family. Why are you trying to hold on to something that destroyed us and nearly broke all of us? You know, let it go. You know, because if you guys could build that, you guys could do it again. Just let it go and move forward. You know, and this definitely sparks ideas in Cookie's mind, because she was like, well, what about that, you know, they were saying that, yeah, you know, but for us to start a label, we need a new talent, somebody new and fresh, somebody that, you know, that we can put our energy behind. Immediately, we see that Cookie goes back to talk to Andre about this girl that she heard singing, and that, you know, you need to ask around to see does she know somebody, or is she visiting a prisoner or something. But she knows that she's not a prisoner. And Andre's like, you trying to get me killed, ma? Up here asking random niggas about some girl? And then next thing you know, we see that the girl comes in, and she was like, well, who is she? And Andre's like, she's a social worker. So we finally meet the girl. Her name is Treasure, and she's actually a social worker at the jail. So Cookie actually meets her and, you know, introduces herself and invites her over because she wants to work with her. So pretty much after they get Treasure over, you know, we see that she has this manager, and the guy is a straight up pimp, and you can tell that he definitely is physically and sexually, probably physically as well as sexually abusive to Treasure, because Treasure, we see, has very low self-esteem. Even though she's very talented, she doesn't believe in her talent. Trust and believe, girl. I know the feeling. You know, so that was real, that they showcased that in the show, that you do have very talented people, but due to their circumstances or due to negative people around them, they don't believe in their talent and they don't believe in what they can do. But this dude was a straight up asshole. He was racist. He was, he was very chauvinistic and was very condescending and degrading to old girl. He was saying that, before he said that I put a lot of money into this girl, so I know she's the real deal. I'm like, if you put all this money into her, why the hell she's working as a social worker at the jail, you piece of shit? So I'm like, so we already knew off the bat this dude was full of shit, and we just see that he's somebody that has power over old girl because she doesn't have any real self-esteem. And he's kind of like, a Svengali. And he was saying that, yeah, she need to do her solfege before she starts singing. And she was like, I don't need to do that. He's like, what I tell you about talking back? What I tell you. What I say goes. So immediately Cookie and Lucius are peeping old boy and his moves. So Lucius, in his typical fashion with dealing with management, it took me back to when I think it was season 1 we dealt with old girl's manager. The girl, the girl with the bald head. I forgot her name. But if y'all remember her name, put her down in the comments. But how he fucked up her manager. He did the same thing with old boy. He was like, you know what? We gonna talk some business right quick and let the ladies bond or whatever. All of a sudden, we see that Lucius went out and he grabbed that damn metal like this golden candlestick thing. I was like, he gonna get fucked up. And a little bit after that, he come back. He's saying, well, if anything, I handled your management situation, so you won't be worried about him anymore. So let's just see what you got. And we see that here it is. She really does have issues with her self-esteem, but they get her together and she starts spitting, and Cookie and Lucius is like, we got one. So things is about to take off. So we see also in this episode too that Hakeem and Jamal, as I mentioned earlier, Jamal pulls a gun out on fucking Kai and Jamal, and Jamal like, what the hell are you doing, Hakeem? And he's like, yo, why the hell you pull a gun on me? I don't take nice to people putting their guns at me. Because he definitely has an accent. Kai, that is. And he's saying that, man, chill out, it ain't even loaded. But there was one that was actually in the chamber, so even though there was no shells, but there was one in the chamber. So if you would have pulled that, you would have killed the old boy. So Kai already just met the family, and they already doing the most. But Hakeem and Jamal get into it, and he pretty much is like, why the hell did you leave? And he was like, look, I was trying to go to London to clear my head. He said, yeah, but did I leave when you got shot? Or when you killed, or when you shot Angelo? Did I run, or was I by your side? And he was like, yeah, you're right, bruh. You were by my side, and I'm sorry that I wasn't here for you, but I'm here now. So they patched that up. Then we see that, towards the end, Cookie and Lucius have decided that, yeah, we're going to restart our company. We got our artists, but we need the family all in line together. And, of course, Jamal is not trying to fall into this shit again, because he's like, look, I got my life in London. I got my own label I'm trying to start up. I'm trying to do my own thing. I'm not trying to get sucked in to the family business. But Cookie was like, oh, no, boo-boo. This is family. So, therefore, you're going to be here. London can wait, and so could that damn boy. And I was like, ah! And we just see that Jamal is really not here for this shit, because he knows damn well this is going to be some issues. So we're going to see how this is going to play out. But yeah, that was a great episode. I'm so happy that Empire's back. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social platforms. I have them all listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I'll be back with the next episode of Empire. So until next time, everybody, take care.